Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here. It is Friday, 8:30 a.m. EST. Today is the Big Jackson Hole Symposium. Okay, so today is a day where I probably will not be trading very much or at all in markets because basically a bunch of billionaires are getting together to talk over in Jackson Hole. Okay, that's over in Wyoming. And so I believe Powell is scheduled to speak today. And that's going to be, let's see, that's going to happen at Friday, 10 a.m. EST. So there might be some volatility after he speaks, maybe some opportunities, at that time, perhaps. But you also have right after that, an hour later, Governor Bailey from the Bank of England speaks, and who knows is going to speak all day long. So, if you're going to trade today, it might be a little bit risky. It might also be that there just is not going to be a lot of volatility in the markets. That could also be the issue. Taking a look at Bitcoin itself, we're still seeing price range within the same range we talked about yesterday. And in whichever way it breaks out, and I mean truly breaks out of this range, is going to tell us a lot. And the top of that range is at 62,100. Bottom of that range is at 57,690, roughly, right? But you could say 57.7. Just keep it simple there. As price bounces back and forth, we're going to have an idea of which way price might go depending on if it breaks up or down. So if it breaks up, we might see price break back up into this high time frame consolidation. Technically, it's in there now, but it still continues to want to bounce around in this mini range down here, right? And this is reflected in some prior price action as well. Some similar ranges have happened recently, and then price goes below the high time frame consolidation, breaks right back up into it. Now, we did have the panic, the JPY, the whole carry trade panic that happened a couple weeks ago. And that did take price down pretty far. If price were to break down, my lower targets are going to be, again, 48,000, really 49, and then down to 44. We could see price head down to 44,000 if there is a strong break downwards in Bitcoin. Right now, price, of course, like I said, if it breaks upward, you have to watch how it behaves. And as I have been saying for the past fair amount of time, past few weeks, if price can break above basically 70,130, it's kind of my number. If it can stay up there for more than a week or two, then our probability of testing the all-time high is going to be greatly increased. Now, we did talk about this pretty publicly, so I will remind everybody of the data. And because we have data, it doesn't mean it's going to act this way, but we do have some historical data to view based on how the months of October, how the months of every single month of the year, but in particular September and October, and how this matters. And it's might be a little hard to see on the screen here, but September tends to be one of the worst months for Bitcoin. Right now, last 2015, 2016, it was positive. 2023, it was positive. So it's not always necessarily going to be a red month. And when it's red, it's usually in the 5% range for the average kind of. So it's not necessarily terribly red of a month, but it tends to be not that great of a month. October, on the other hand, the average is about a 20% gain. You got they call it Uptober for a reason, but you got a couple months where price did actually pull back a little bit. So not everything is going to work all the time. And we can take a look at when the pullbacks happened, and the pullbacks did happen. At least the one recent pullback was right at the end of the bull market, right? So October is a pretty good month for Bitcoin overall. And so I would be paying pretty close attention to what happens from a historical standpoint when I'm weighing out my odds. Okay. Now, there are a lot of people watching that data, of course, and we have some contrarians who say, well, everybody's watching that data. Well, no, I don't think everybody's watching that data. I think it's good to have that data in mind when looking at price action and using the data on the charts to help determine what may happen with crypto or anything else. So good. That's Bitcoin as a whole. Again, however it breaks out of this this low consolidation, lower time frame consolidation, it's been in since early August. It's going to tell us a lot. And remember, there's always like fake out breakouts, like this breakout to the downside that you see right here. That was a fake out, popped right back up into that consolidation. So you got to watch out for those as well. And that's what we got for Bitcoin. Looks like we have Booyah SG. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate the support there. And let's see, we got a little bit of time yet left. So let's take a quick look at the indices. We've been watching the stock market, and it has been pretty darn strong, and it's held up despite some craziness. So, of course, we had the whole Japanese yen carry trade unwind, and that showed its effect from mid-July through early August. So we saw that pullback, and the entire SP 500 and the other indices to a similar degree pulled back a total of 10%. And that's huge. It's just like, I don't know, trillions of dollars got wiped out of the market right there. Good morning, MavBet. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. So, that was put right back on. From the 4th of August until now, the market is back up roughly that same percentage. It hasn't quite made it to its all-time highs, but it's up 10.8%. So, the money came right back on. I imagine deals were made because the day after Japan announced no more carry trade, they went ahead and said, okay, we're putting it back on, and, price is going back up. So there's a lot of theories out there about, okay, was this planned? Was it not planned? And, well, I don't know. Does it really matter? I mean, no one's going to know whether it was planned, whether it was not planned, whether it's just, the Japanese defending their currency. Could have been them just defending. We don't really know, and it doesn't really matter. The charts will tell us what we need to know. So looking at the price action here, though, you can see that the market has rebounded very strongly. And historically, again, looking at data from the past, these indices, the Dow, the SP 500, all your, at least the US indices are flat leading into an election. They tend to go sideways. So what we're seeing here is actually, and again, this was a bit of a little miniature black swan, but what we could be seeing here is a range being built, more or less. And I would venture to say, I'd put it like right about here. We can see, it's not necessarily something I would strictly follow right now. And I'm going to be completely flat out honest with you. I think it's going to break above. I think it's just going to continue to go up from here. I don't think we're going to see a move back down to those lows. And again, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're in an election year. It's just that tends to be how things go. They want things nice and steady. The incumbent basically is wants to look good, and if the market crashes and stays low right before an election, then a lot of people are going to be upset. They're going to say, "Why? How did you let this happen?" And they're not going to vote for them. So I almost guarantee you that whatever needs to be done to hold markets up will be done, and even to push them up farther. That's what I expect. So everybody, appreciate you guys and gals coming to show up to the live show. Remember, if you're not with Algo Factory, you can still come on here and ask for charts. Say, hey, what do you think is going to happen to gold? What do you think is going to happen to oil? What do you think is going to happen to my favorite stock? I will chart those for you, right? Our Algo Factory members do have priority. So, of course, if somebody's going to ask for a chart, I'm going to provide those for Algo Factory members first, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to be an Algo Factory member. I still will put together charts for you. And V the Guerilla, who just swung in from a few branches, just showed up here, and he would be happy to answer questions as well. V, how you doing, my man?
Javor. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, very good.
Good. We're just finishing our bit of public live lab. I'm telling everybody, if they want to see chart, they just have to ask. It's just what we're doing, and we're not going to people take advantage of our kindness.
We never want the people to take advantage of the kindness, my friend.
No.
Because,
But you can if you want to. I'm not going to stop you and ask for chart.
I will never stop anybody.
No, not at
I was
all.
just listening to Tucker's commentary on the next president of the United States.
Oh
Kamala
man,
Harris.
we're still public live. We could cover this right here if you want to, and then
Yeah.
go to the live lab afterwards.
Sure, absolutely. I think, guys, I'm having a foreboding feeling that Davos is going to pull a doozy. I have a foreboding feeling that Kamala Harris is going to pull this off. I have a foreboding feeling that Americans are just going to be apathetic and disgruntled and not going to fight back. I have a foreboding feeling, man.
I have a foreboding feeling. I don't think it matters. I think even if Trump got in, they would just cordon him off and do what they could to make it really hard for him to do anything.
You don't think that Trump would utilize the power of the crash helmets?
The power of the what?
The crash helmets.
Yeah, he's gonna. Well, he actually, if you trust the plan, he has been the president the past 4 years, hiding in a bunker in Colorado, and all the military has been doing what he says secretly.
Correct, because
Right.
he has the nuclear codes.
He has the codes, right?
And Biden was not allowed to get the codes.
No, Biden wasn't allowed to have the codes, right?
No. And yes, that's the way it is.
I appreciate that, Deadwood. Yeah, please smash the like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Sylvia the Guerilla. Now that we're kind of talking about that, there is some talk from Klaus Schwab saying we are going to come into a period of major shocks. Something about like shocks, a period of shocks.
We are coming into a period of major shocks.
Yeah, just he's like trying to predict that there's going to be events or that are going to start shocking everybody. So that might be the doozy that you feel coming. And I'm dude, I am at a point where whoever, here it is, I found it. Let me put it up on the screen. Hold on.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not in the point to let Gary Gensler become the Treasury Secretary of the United States.
I mean, here it is. Klaus Schwab says, era of shock events is coming ahead of the 2024 election.
The era of shock events is coming for... I got to work on my Schwab.
Klaus Schwab says, era of shock events is coming ahead of the 2024 election, and you will make sure that you are eating some bugs, or else I will send people to your border who will get through, and they will do things to your cities. And I'm Klaus, and I should have a very large furry cat on my lap, and I should pet it when I talk.
All I gotta say, folks, is make sure you've pre-purchased your airline tickets to Washington D.C. because that Russian consulate is looking really good these days.
Well, yeah, I mean, you saw that declaration from Putin, right?
Yep. You don't think? I knew they were working on that for the last 2 years, man.
Yeah, they're basically
Tim Kirby's lawyer, Timur, who was like the #1 immigration attorney in Russia. They were mentioning that for people who are sick of the immorality and neoliberalism of the West, and
yeah, like I was talking to somebody in the background. This one dude who he is pretty active over on Matthew Ehret's Telegram. He's a nice guy. I don't think
Mr. History.
Yeah, he's a nice dude. He just has it out for Russia, man. He just like cherry picks everything bad about Russia. Like, Russia farts and he wants to talk about it. But the reality is, like I said, look, the way that power rotates, what I'm reading, what I'm finding through history is that power rotates east and west over like 100-year cycles. And it's been rotating east for at least 20 years. And I think that, for me, I think the U.S. and the West, especially U.S., I don't know about Europe, they might fall into a dark age, but at least the U.S. has a bright future ahead of it. But I think it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And I think you and I have talked about this. I think it's going to get worse for like decades before it gets better.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, I don't know. A lot of people talk Civil War this, a Civil War that. I don't think it's going to go there.
I don't think it's a Civil War, man.
Nah.
I mean, somebody made a point. What American is in shape for a Civil War?
Well, yeah. I mean,
the fattest, most medicated country on God's green earth is ready for a Civil war.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk to guys who were in Civil War, guys who seen Civil War, witnessed Civil War overseas, they will tell you it's a very brutal, very, very hard thing, very difficult thing to do because it requires, number one, a lot of physical energy and supply chain and all these other things that are just a very, very hard thing to do. You think
Yeah.
the average American who's like 50 pounds overweight, he could barely, some beer swilling, football watching ESPN junkie is ready for civil war? Nah, he's
Nah.
gonna sit. He's gonna bitch and complain. He's gonna be a keyboard warrior and post shit on X and cry and complain about it while he's like chugging his beer and eating his chicken wings. Not that I have anything against beer and chicken wings because I love chicken wings, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that what's civil war? No, the American is going to go into his slavery and he's going to be beating his fat man boobs, saying how free he is all the way there. All the way there. He's going to be smashing his man boobs, beating his man boobs like a gorilla, but instead of muscles, man boobs, and screaming to the world about how free he is. And the world doesn't even care at this point. They're like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. I live in I live in Trump country, right?
Yeah.
And I see the guys, and I appreciate it. They're driving around American flag, Trump flag. I'm good with that. But I see the guys that are flying those flags, and it's like a lot of them are the guy you just described. Like, what are you going to do in a civil war?
I'm gonna eat my chicken wings and watch ESPN. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm
and
gonna
that's
bitch and
kind of
complain on the
yeah.
internet.
That's like
You know what they're doing? You know what they're gonna be doing in the Civil War? The same shit they're doing now, bro.
Yeah.
Whatever shit you're doing now, that's what they're gonna be doing in the Civil War.
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see people. I mean, look,
This is
I'm going to tell you
this is
that
why I
there's.
keep telling people. This is why I keep telling people: make as much money as you can, insulate yourself, and get the hell out of the way. That's it. That's the
Yeah,
only thing you can do. But
I'll tell you
no,
this. That
yeah.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
But no. Let's just listen to programs like this and get wrapped up in the salaciousness of it all, as if it's some sort of a weird fetish or some sort of weird way of therapy. It's odd.
I tell you, there's one option where it would be realistic for, as Justin in the comments is telling us. So Justin's one of our newer members.
Yeah.
He the one way that people will get involved and fight is if the food runs out. But until the food
Yeah, but
runs
when the
out,
food runs out, guess who they're fighting? Each other.
that's what I mean
They'll
though.
be
Like,
eating each other, man.
it,
There's not gonna be no cohesive, organized. Like, yeah, it's not gonna be a real. It's not gonna be like a real civil war that you see in the Middle East, Central South America. It's not gonna be in Asia. It's not gonna be like that. The American Civil War, it's gonna be based on keyboards. And when the food runs out, they'll eat each other.
yeah, I think it'll be kind of like one of those things where another definition for that is the food gets so expensive that people go broke trying to eat. But then I think by the time we get there, the markets will have crashed. They'll introduce, helicopter money. I just don't think that people are going to be allowed to get to the point where they'll fight. I just don't, I don't think people are going to be willing to give up their jobs. And then that's why people don't
Correct.
stand up right now, because they don't want to say the wrong thing on Twitter and get fired.
Correct.
That's where it is. I mean, that's why you want to find a way to generate your own income. And I'm always one to talk about trading and income. I think trading is a good thing to start as a side gig. I think a lot of people who make the mistake of like, hey, I'm going to make this my entire income. Like, okay, that can happen over time. People can make trading their entire income. I think actually you should have multiple income streams. I don't think it's wise. The only way that trading should be your entire income is if you have a very large amount of money, where you have like enough money to live on, and then a lot of those investments are paying enough every month to counter inflation and go above that to pay for your bills. And that way you don't have to worry about bringing in money on the side. Because if you're taking 100% of your income and that's like your trading bag, that is psychologically very harmful, because you're basically risking it all every time you trade. Like, it's not going to work out that well for you, but it can happen if you have years of success and you build up your AUM, which is assets under management. Then yeah, that trading can become at that point your entire income. But I don't know that many people who have like just enough money to get by, and then their monthly income comes from trading. Like, it's possible. I know guys who do it, but usually they have a little bit more money than that. So I'd say It's wise to, invest. I mean, even myself, dude. Yeah, I'm in and out of trades all day, but that's with like, 5 or 10% of my money. I'm not putting all my money in every trade. I haven't done that since 2017. And in 2017, when I was doing that, I didn't have a wife and kids and a mortgage, right? So I always like approach this thing in a healthy manner. It takes time to build a good trading method. It takes time, and it takes mostly it's just hard ass work. It's not even like some genius mentality, but I can tell you, if you put in the work, if you come in and do the work, you do have an opportunity to create basically an income machine, right? And it might start off as like maybe a couple extra $100 a month, and then it kind of grows to like covering your car payment, and then eventually over time it grows to cover your mortgage, and then that's
Cowboy,
when that possibility comes to where it's covering everything. That can happen. I just don't recommend you start out that way. You know what I mean?
Cowboy.
So anyway, we're oh, go ahead.
Cowboy.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you explain to the people, so the common man can understand the power of compounding?
Oh yeah, that's great. YouTube won't like
trade, what happens
if I use too much numbers. YouTube's actually canceled me for this before, but let me explain it to you in so the way that money management works. This is going to be a money management conversation, right? This is not an income. We're not talking about income for YouTube ears. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just have to be careful how we label this. When you have an account, let's just say you start out with 10 grand, right? And if you have 10 grand and you're doing something called money management and you're trading only 2% of your book, right? That's a $200 trade. And if you win that trade, and it's just a 1-to-1 risk to reward, let's not talk about putting in 200 to make 3 or putting in 200 to make 4, right? That's kind of more what we do. But let's just say that each one of your trades, if you win, you make 200, and if you lose 200 on average, right? So we're going to keep it like you're not that great of a trader, or you have a lot of opportunities. So you can be a really good trader and have 1-to-1. It's just how the math plays out. Then you end up with 100, then you end up with $10,200. Your next trade is going to be $204. It won't be 200. It's going to be 204. And then you end up, if you win, at 10404, right? And then your next trade is going to be like 209 or something, 210. Each time it grows and grows. And when it's growing at this rate, even just and this is on average, you can have trades that you lose, I'm talking about, I'm just saying over average over time, your trade size is going to grow. And within 3 trades, you've already grown 10% of your trade size. And then within 5 trades, all of a sudden you're, I don't know, you start to get up to the 250 range. And before you know it,
let's do it this way. Okay. You go at this pace. All right, you start with that. Just let's make it brass tacks for people. In 30 days, what does that $10,000 look like? In 30 days.
And this is like given the let's do.
We'll do quick and dirty. We don't have to be exact math, but let's do an approximation. Quick and dirty.
Let's say daily interest rate. All right, so for YouTube viewers, this is not about income. We're just talking about compound interest, right?
Yeah, it's just compound interest.
Compound interest. This has nothing to do with income or anything like that. So we're going to start with 10,000. We're gonna make it weekly, right? So let's say you can increase your account by 4% weekly, and you're going to do it for a year, and we're going to do it 5 days a week. We're going to reinvest 100%. No additional contributions. You're not putting any more money in this account.
Correct.
We're going to start today.
So what does that look like at the end of the year?
At the end of the year, it's $44,000.
Bingo. Now go to your boss. And ask for a $44,000 raise.
Yeah. I mean, a $34,000 technically is the earning.
But you get what I'm saying. All right, $34,000 raise, right? But that's the power of compounding. This is what people need to understand. When you have compounding like that, folks, that's what changes the game for you. That's what improves. $34K at the end of the year, for a lot of people, that can get a lot of things done.
Yeah, and we're not saying that this is going to happen to you. We have to be very careful to disclaim.
No. This is not a guarantee. These are theoreticals that we're dealing with. But these are very real theoreticals that can happen.
Realistic.
You know,
Yeah.
very realistic, and we're being very conservative. You know, 10K investment. You're looking at a compounding interest. You're looking at the trade as it compounds, and at the end of the year, you're looking at 34. That's phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. What's the percentage of that? Right? What's the percentage? Like, from 10K to 30. Bingo.
342%.
Bingo. And you got people that are like, well, what do I do? Think about this, guys. When you're in the world of trading, these are conservative numbers, guys. When you're in the world of trading, right? You got people, come invest in this real estate. You know, at the, you ever see these pooled real estate investment deals?
Well, like a REIT or like
an REIT, correct. Yeah. Like an REIT is an example. You look at these REITs where you put in, let's say 100K, and then you get a 6% return at the end of the year. You want to do that, or you want 342% at the end of the year?
Or better, or worse.
Or better.
Yeah, nothing guaranteed.
Exactly.
Nothing's guaranteed.
No, nothing's guaranteed, but just these are numbers, getting your mind to think. Some people need to see these numbers, and these are conservative numbers, and you need this in order for your mind to think differently, to put you in a different headspace, to put you in a different mindset. Because most people don't understand 342% at the end of the year. Oh my God, phenomenal!
What did Einstein say about the eighth wonder of the world?
He said something about I don't know.
Trying to find the meme here. Albert Einstein. It's on the right here. Let me open it in a new tab. Einstein called this the eighth wonder of the world, and the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest.
Yep.
Exactly. That's how it is. And then, if look, there's no guarantee that you might make what if you only just made 50%? What if you took 100,000 and you made it up to 150,000? Like, that's kind of considered to be an elite trader right there. It is.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Let's just say you took it and you made 30, you took it and you made 150%, or even 20%.
Yeah.
Right? It's still better than the interest rate that you're getting paid for your CD savings account, right?
Yep.
It's still better than what REITs are offering you. And I get REIT offers all the time. Hey, man, you want to invest in this community center that's, the first year you get nothing, the second year you get 4%, and your money's locked up. Here, you have the potentiality of a 342% return on interest, number one, return on investment, number one. And number two, you're very liquid, and you can leverage into other assets.
Here, this is a proper. Growth. Sorry to interrupt you, bro. This is a proper Forex compounding calculator. This is proper. This is proper. Yeah. So this is actually like pretty realistic here for somebody who really this is a 60% gain in a year. That's much more. I'm not saying you're going to make that. I'm not saying you're going to make more or less of that. But what you're doing here is you're actually compounding 4% monthly. So all you're doing is growing your account 4% every single month and not adding money, and that's a 60% gain. That's, dude. People in the real world will murder for 60%. Like 60% gain, you're not going to make that in a REIT. And like you just said, you can actually take this money. I mean, even if you're, like taking some of that money out and putting it in somewhere else, like, or using it to pay the bills or whatever it is, like all these numbers change, right? If you're a trader, you're going to pull money out to pay the bills. So this right here is real. Like, I'm not saying this will happen to you. There's nothing guaranteed, but just making 4% every single month is going to give you a 60% move in a year. And I know people making way more than that. 4% is like, for a Forex trader, that means basically if you're risking 2% and you're winning like 2 trades a month, or even one for some people, like. So, or an average of one, like you might win 2 trades and lose 1, or you might win, like 5 trades and lose 4. But I mean, you, even at that point, winning 5 trades and losing 4, these kind of numbers are like they're there. So anyway, I would go to, if you want to kind of mess with this, just make sure you choose the Forex compound number. That's the one. And you're looking at the calculator, calculatorsite.com. And then you can actually forecast, what might happen if this, that, and the other. Again, it's all theoretical. Nothing's guaranteed. But it's always great Thanks for coming by, Siege, by the way. It's always great to kind of take a look at like what the elite traders are doing. And if you're making 50% a year in the Forex world, that's considered, pretty darn pretty good. In the hedge fund world, oh my God, it's huge. No, Be Good's asking in the private chat if we talked about gold yet. So we're probably gonna hop over to private. V, what do you think? Should we go ahead and do that? It's Let me tell everybody, by the way, before we hop over or not, it's an extremely slow day. What's happening right now is Jackson Hole, and Powell's going to talk in, I think, an hour. I know we talked about this at the beginning of the show. So Powell's going to talk at 10 a.m. EST, and that is in an hour. And then you got Governor Bailey from the Bank of England. He's going to talk right after that. So I won't be touching any trades until they're done talking, and that's not going to be until 11 a.m. EST.
Yep.
So, but yeah, what do you say, V? Should we hop over to private and do some chart gold for Be Good?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Yeah, if you could get us out of here then, my man.
Guys, join us. Be a part of the most prolific trading organization and group and community in the entire planet. Algo Factory .check. Algo Factory .tech. With that being said, Cowboy, take it away. Join us or die, you bitch.
Join us or die.
That was awesome.
Yeah.